Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're having a good day. Just thought I'd get on here real quick. I just got back from the drugstore. I hate shopping, but for some reason I really enjoy going to the drugstore. I don't know why. I just do. Anyways, I got a few things. I'll just show them to you. I got a new blow dryer. Pretty much just bought it because I like the color. I don't really research stuff. I usually buy things because they look good. Got some new nail polish, and then got something for my hair to protect it from heat. So some of you may have noticed when I came back from Montreal, my hair is a little bit lighter. It's not from sun exposure. I got it dyed. So I've never dyed my hair before. This is the first time I ever dyed it. Hey John, how's it going? Hey Adam. Hi Andrew, how are you? Hey Tony, hi Maria. So I got it dyed for the very first time ever in Montreal. I decided, okay, I want to change the color, and I was starting to see some gray, so I figured now is the time to change my color. So my girlfriend said, yes, let's do it. Let's book an appointment and do it. And so we did. Hey Jenny, how's it going? And what I didn't know, I realized, okay, there's upkeep. You dye your hair, especially when you go to a lighter color. You got to do those roots and all that kind of stuff, but whatever. And what I've learned since I've had it done is my whole world has had to change. So for one thing, you can't wash your hair with hot water because it makes the color fade. So I've been taking cooler showers. You have to protect your hair from the heat, from the sun. Not good to go into chlorine or even into salt water. So I got this to protect it from the heat when I'm blow drying it. I'm supposed to wash it less, and I sweat hard when I work out. And I work out, I'm working out 5 days a week. So it's like I'm not supposed to wash my hair every day. So anyways, all brand new stuff I'm learning about with this new hair color thing. So it's all good. It got me to the drugstore, so that was good, and got my stuff. So enough about that. The topic for today, and I had said earlier this week I was going to talk about 3 different dietary things, and today's topic is ketosis. Yesterday it was carb cycling, today is ketosis. Tomorrow I'll talk about paleo style dieting. So ketosis, you've probably heard about it. You might be really confused about it, lots of different information. The ketogenic diet is nothing new. It's been around for a long, long time. Like since our ancestors, they didn't do it as a diet. They did it out of necessity. But in the past, what I was told anyways when I took my nutrition course was that ketosis is very, very unhealthy, not something you want to do. So I always just stayed away from it and never bothered really looking into it. And then somebody brought it to my attention not too long ago. So I thought, oh, well, maybe I should look into this a little bit more and find out some more information. And it turns out what they were worried about in the past was something called ketoacidosis, which can be deadly. But ketoacidosis cannot happen just from nutritional ketosis. So if you are diabetic, then yes, that is a real problem. That's a real risk. That's something that is very dangerous to your health. But if you're just following a ketogenic diet to get yourself into ketosis, you don't have to worry about getting into ketoacidosis. It's just not going to happen. It wouldn't be possible for you to get your body to that point unless you are diabetic. So that was I guess that was a big thing that they were saying was the problem with being in ketosis. So what exactly is ketosis? There's a big, huge scientific explanation that I'm not going to go into. You get so bored. But I do have a link on my blog. When I post this on my blog, there's going to be a link to the scientific definition of what ketosis is, what exactly happens in your body. So I'm just going to keep it super, super simple. So basically, it's ketosis is a state where your body is using ketone bodies for energy rather than glycogen. Glycogen is your body's preferred source of energy. So that's the sugar that we store in our muscles, or that we get for when we need that quick bit of energy. But our bodies can also use ketone bodies for energy. So if you are depleted of glycogen, so for instance, the ketogenic diet is very low carb or zero carbs, then your body starts to use ketone bodies instead. So what are ketone bodies? When you run out of stored glycogen, fat will go through a process which results in the production of fatty acids, and then some of these fatty acids get turned into ketone bodies. So if you're glycogen depleted, you can use these ketone bodies for energy. And our brains can use it for energy, because some people would say, okay, well, you have to have sugar for your brain, but your brain can actually operate off of ketone bodies as well. And which makes sense, because back in the day, LC, ketogenic diet was created to diminish seizures in epileptic children. This is true, and I'm going to get to that soon. Very interesting information there as well. So yeah, it is used for some medical things as well. So anyways, back in the day, our ancestors, they went into ketosis when carbs were not available. So for instance, during the winter, there's a bunch of snow, you can't get carbs, so they're eating mostly protein, mostly fat and protein, and then they would go into ketosis. It was just a natural thing that they had to do. So our bodies had to adapt to be able to use ketone bodies as fuel, because if there's nothing around to put sugar into your body, then you need to be able to use something else for fuel. And our bodies are very, very smart, and our body's main thing is to survive, so it will figure out how to survive. So ketone bodies can be used for energy, and our brains work just fine off of them. Although I do have to say, if you are going to get into this, if you're going to try the ketogenic dieting or use exogenous ketones, I do recommend drinking quite a bit of water. I find that if you don't drink enough water, you actually do kind of get brain fog, so it has a lot to do with the hydration. Hey Amanda, hi Patricia, hi Tom. So that is, that's very brief explanation of ketone bodies. So again, I'll have a link in my blog. So if you want to look into this and look at the information behind it, please feel free to do that. And I actually would recommend that you do. Like when somebody first approached me not too long ago about using ketones, I was like, oh no, ketosis, that's totally unhealthy. But then I realized, information is always changing. We're always learning new things. You got to open up your mind and learn about these things. And that's where I got some really interesting information and learned more about it, rather than just, ignoring that. So really good to inform yourself. So you might need a little bit of time to read through it, but it's an interesting read. So how do you get into ketosis? So there's two ways. One is dietary. So you manipulate your nutrition to force your body into ketosis. So in other words, very little carbs, if any at all, and then you're eating protein and fat. So for instance, for the carbs, you'd be consuming 30 grams or less, which is super, super low. And then you'd be eating, the rest of your diet would be healthy protein and healthy fats. So making sure that you're getting your fats and your proteins from healthy sources. So when you don't provide your body with enough carbs to convert into glycogen, for energy, your body will actually convert your fat stores into energy using a little process called neoglucogenesis. So it creates the energy from the fat. And the more energy you need, the more fat you'll burn. So in other words, getting into ketosis is not a sit on your butt and eat protein and fat all day and lose weight. It doesn't work that way. It just helps your body switch over to burning fat for its main source of fuel rather than burning sugar. So it's a good tool, but it's not something that's some miracle fat loss product. So just keep that in mind. The other way to get into ketosis is by using exogenous ketones, and that's what I do. I'm not going to bother telling you the brand that I use, because this is not a sell you something video. This is a inform you about something video. So if you're interested, message me and I'll tell you all about it, but I'm not going into it right now. So let's look at the pros of ketosis. Hey Byron, how's it going? So pros of ketosis, first one that pops up is improved fat loss, and that's the one that's going to get a lot of people's attention. So your body is using fat for energy rather than using sugar, so you're burning off your stored fat. Eliminating the risk of bonking. This is the one that really kind of got me really interested in using exogenous ketones to get into ketosis, because of the idea of being able to eliminate the risk of bonking. So if you participate in any kind of endurance type activities, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. When you are doing an endurance activity, your body needs fuel, and if it's feeding off of your glycogen, the problem with that is that we can only store so much glycogen. And it's not a whole lot. And once you run out, if you don't have your nutrition bang on during your event, you're going to bonk. And for any of you who have bonked, you'll know that's not something you want to do. It's terrible. It feels awful. So the thing with ketosis is, because you're using your fat as a source of energy, you're not going to run out of energy. So you're going to run out of glycogen pretty quickly. You got to keep topping that up. But with fat, even a really lean person is going to have enough fat stored in their body to provide the energy they need to get through their endurance sports. So a lot of endurance athletes actually do follow a low carb diet, which sounds weird because you think, you know, endurance athletes, they need to carb load and that kind of thing. But they've actually started to switch over to a low carb diet, so that they're able to tap into their fat stores as their energy source so that they don't risk bonking. So really super interesting. That's what really got my attention, because at the time when I was approached about using them, I was riding a lot more often, and we go for these long rides, you know, ride up Cyprus or whatever. And yeah, if you're bonking on a bike, that's bad news. So that's what really kind of won me over to try them out. So getting into what Elsie was talking about, epilepsy management. So ketosis is not just a way to burn excess fat, it's also beneficial for some medical conditions. And doctors have found that ketosis helps control seizures. And they don't know exactly how or why. It just seems to have an effect on the person's chemistry that somehow gets their seizures under control. So there's an article you can read about that, and I'm putting the link in my blog. I'm going to post this tomorrow on my blog. There'll be a link to that information about how it helps with epilepsy. So super interesting. I know I have a friend I follow on Facebook who's all about the ketogenic diet, and I know she's said some things about how it helps to control epilepsy. So really, really interesting there. Hey, Kevin. Hi, Samantha. Hi, Alyssa. And also can be used as an alternative cancer treatment. So cancer cells require glucose to thrive. They actually live off of sugar. So, and cancer cells are not flexible like our cells are, our regular cells. So cancer cells can't just switch from using glucose for energy. They can't just switch over and start using ketone bodies for energy. So what happens is, if you get yourself into ketosis, and you don't have any glycogen, any glucose or anything available for the cancer cells, they actually starve and they start to shrink, and it's amazing. That was another thing that really caught my attention when I was learning more about ketosis. So you're essentially starving the cancer cell to death by going into and staying in ketosis. So very, very interesting. Again, another link that will be in my blog if you want to read more about that, because both of these things, to talk about them, that would be a whole topic on its own. It would be a long topic, but really, really interesting stuff. So again, I really encourage you to learn more about ketosis. So we got to talk about the cons, though, because you know, nothing's perfect. Hey, Chris, how's it going? So the first con that comes up is the diet is super restrictive, and you know, that can be really hard for someone to stick to, especially if you like going out with your friends or you like to go to a restaurant. It's really hard to stick to the diet in those scenarios. And also, you know how you feel when you're out of carbs, like you don't feel very good. So a lot of people have a really hard time sticking to that strict of a diet. So that's where using exogenous ketones could be beneficial. The only thing I don't like about exogenous ketones, and I'm still looking and trying to find more information. I've asked somebody and they didn't really give me an answer that I felt explained it, was I don't know like the long-term effects of using exogenous ketones. If any of you know anything about the long-term effects, please let me know. The only information I could find is that there hasn't been any really good studies done yet on the long-term effects. So that's the one thing where I'm just kind of not really sure about that. So that would be something I would like to learn more about. And also the other con is being in ketosis long-term may damage your metabolism. So I don't think it's healthy for someone who is already healthy to be in ketosis 24/7, you know, all the time. Like I don't think you should stay in ketosis long term. I think you should cycle in and out of it if you're going to do it. And again, looking back at our ancestors, they would cycle. It would depend on what was available for them to eat. So during the times of year where there are no carbs available, then okay, they're in ketosis. But as soon as those carbs are available, you know, they weren't like, oh, I don't want to get fat. They started eating those carbs as they were available. So cycling in and out, in my mind, just makes sense. I kind of feel that way about any supplement that you put in your body, that you should cycle in and out of it. And also, some people will go a bit too extreme and they'll just cut out too much, which means they're not getting enough nutrients. And then when this happens, your body will slow down its metabolism to try and conserve energy because it senses that it's being starved. So taking it to the extreme could be an issue for some people. So that's it. That's the information I have. Oh, and also being in ketosis can cause bad breath because one of the byproducts is acetone. So keeping that in mind as well. And there's nothing you can do about something that's metabolically causing bad breath. It's not like you can brush your teeth more or use mouthwash. It's just, you know, that's what your body's producing. So that's another thing to keep in mind if you are considering trying out this. And once again, I always encourage people, if you're curious about it, try it out. Make sure you're doing it in a healthy way. If you're not sure what to do or how to do it, talk to somebody who can guide you so you're doing it properly, and see how you feel. I mean, some people might try it out and they just feel like crap. Some people, I've heard people complain that they have headaches and they have brain fog and they just feel awful. And then I know other people who are like, they feel awesome, their head's clear, they have energy, you know, they can do their endurance sports without bonking. So it really depends on you and your lifestyle, and keeping in mind that it does go hand in hand with a healthy, active lifestyle. Okay, so again, it's not sit on your couch and eat bacon and butter all day. You have to actually be active. You have to, your body needs a reason to burn up that fat as well. So the fat's available to be burned, but you need to be active in order to burn it. Hey, Natasha, how's it going? So definitely talk to somebody to help you do that if you're interested in trying it out. And always remember, just because something works does not mean that it will work better if you take it to the extreme. Taking things to the extreme usually backfires in the end. So just be careful about that. And if you're the type, if you know you're the type to take things to the extreme, you might not want to mess around with the ketogenic diet. So you know yourself, and you want to keep it healthy. And like I said, if you want to try it out, make sure you talk to somebody who can help you do it properly. It's not just a matter of cutting out all carbs and just eating, meat and fat. Okay, there's more to it than that. So that's it. Hey, Tanya, how's it going? Hi, Amanda. So I'm going to, oh, thanks, Amanda. I appreciate that. Yeah, I was really, really interested when I started learning more about ketosis, because I really kind of blocked it. I was like, oh, ketosis, that's bad for you, because somebody told me that years ago, and that was the problem. It was years ago. And I mean, there's so much research being done all the time. And we're learning things all the time, and we need to be open to this new knowledge and learn about it as well. And yeah, ketosis is very interesting. So if you want more information, check my blog tomorrow when I post this, and there's a couple of links. And I also have some videos I can share with you if you're interested, just about ketosis. They're not product videos. Don't worry, I'm not going to send you some kind of video that's telling you to buy ketones or anything like that. It's just information. It's the information that was given to me that I found really interesting, and I'm happy to share that with you. So I am going to go and take my new blow dryer out of the box and look at how pretty the color is. And I will be back again tomorrow to talk about the paleo diet and what I can learn about that and share with you. All right, guys, have an awesome evening. Talk to you soon.